Hi everyone, I thought of making a quick video on how to figure out the chords of a new song, a song that you like and you're looking to make a cover. You might not have as much keyboard or piano experience and you're trying to Google tutorials and it can be quite a struggle. So I thought of making a quick video and hope it helps you. So when I listen to a new song, I'm gonna pick Rasali from Achamen Madamayada. I really like that song. And my first step is to figure out the root note of the song. The sa in Carnatic music or Hindustani music, or the do, re, mi, do. The do, the main note, the root bass note for the song. If you know the root bass note, you can play it, but like say I'm new to that song, I pick a phrase of the song. Right? You don't have to be a singer. I'm just saying you listen to the song and try to play it out one phrase on the keyboard. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay. I'm like something like that. But you try to play it out and you're like, okay, so it seems to gravitate towards here. Like every phrase seems to gravitate towards here. So that is usually the bass note. It seems to hold the whole melody together. So once you figure out the bass note, which is the hardest part, next step, figure out if it's a major or a minor scale. And most songs usually follow in this one of these two scales. So a major scale has this pattern. You start with the root note, 2 steps up, that's the second note of the scale, 2 steps up, that's the third note of the scale, 1 step up, that's the fourth note of the scale, 2 steps up, fifth note, 2 steps up, sixth note, 2 steps up, seventh note, and then ends with the higher pitch for the same note. 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. Same way ascending or descending. This pattern applies for any note, any of these notes that you pick as the root note. The same 2-1 pattern applies. So you just need to remember that pattern for major. Even if you pick this as the root note, it's 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. Same pattern. But for this song, it was this one. So the major scale went like that. Seems to fit the song, but let me also see if it could be a minor scale for some of the songs. So minor scale has this pattern, starting with the root note, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. That applies for, again, any of these that you pick as a root note. That applies for most songs. But I feel for this song, based on the phrase that I played, it seems to fit the major scale more. Then I didn't see any of these notes come out in the song. It seems to not fit. So I choose, okay, should be the major scale. Now let's learn the chords in that scale that are relevant for the song. Chords are a sequence of notes in that scale that when you play it together, it sounds really nice and harmonious. You would play the chords usually on your left hand, whereas you'll be singing the melody, or you play the melody on your right hand. That's how usually it works for most songs. So given we figured out it's an E major scale, this is the root note, the major chord, the first major chord, the first chord we'll learn will take the first note, the third note, and the fifth note. How would you figure that out? Let's revise. First, 2 steps up, second, 2 steps up, third. So that's the third note. 1 step up, fourth, 2 steps up, fifth. So first, third, fifth. When you play it together, it sounds really nice. To figure out the other chords that are in this scale, here's where the magic happens. All you gotta do is move each finger to the next note in the scale. My thumb is on this note. I'm going to move it from the first to the second, 2 steps up. So my thumb is going to be here. my middle finger was here, and the third note is going to move to the fourth. So it's going to be like that. And my pinky was here. It's going to move to this note, 2 steps up. That's the 6th note. So it's moving to the 2nd, 4th, and 6th now. So it's 1, 3, 5, now 2, 4, 6. So that's the 2nd chord in the scale. You just got to move each finger to the next note in the scale. Let's try that again. This one is going to move here. This one is going to move here. And this one is going to move here. That's the next chord we're learning. Now from here, you're going to move to the next chord. So this is going to move down. This is going to move here. And my ring finger is going to move here. So you're going to play. And you're going to try this again with the remaining. So I'm going to move it here. This goes here. This one is going to go here. Right? And then I'm going to go there. And then I'm going to go to there. And then I'm going to return back on the higher pitch, the higher octave. So that's all the chords in that scale that are going to be in the song. Now that you all figured out the chords, you might be getting super excited trying to play it with your left hand. That's because you're going to be singing over it or playing the melody on your right. And you're going to be like, oh my God, it's such a struggle holding these sequence of notes, the first, third, and the fifth. My hands are stretched out and I'm struggling to hold it. What I would recommend is to practice holding these chords with different combination of finger positions and see what works best for you. Ultimately, you're going to be making the cover of the song. You want to be able to transition between each of these chords easily. So master the finger positions that work best for you when you're playing the song. Once you're able to seamlessly transition between these chords, it's going to make your cover a lot more easier to do. Now, being able to play the chords of this song and hold the finger positions is already great progress. But what is the sequence of these chords or chord progressions that are relevant for the song and fit the song? This is notably the most challenging, yet the most exciting part about making a cover. Now, what I will recommend is knowing some basic chord progressions that work for most pop songs is a great start, which is what I'll be teaching you in this video. But aside from that, what I will recommend you all to do in your musical journey is, now that you know the 7 different chords that are in this E major scale that we just practiced, play the song on your phone or your laptop on the side, or you sing the song, and at the end of each phrase, most songs transition to a different chord. Like say one phrase it goes like this, another phrase could be like, maybe like this, or like this. Just try to experiment with different chords at each phrase and trust your ear. Like your hearing would tell you that must be the right chord, and if that's not the right chord, move to a different chord for that same phrase and see if that works. That's the most experimental, that's the most exciting part about making a cover. That's like a brute force approach. But I'll give you some guidelines on common chord progressions that work for most songs. They loop throughout the entire song with the same sequence of chords. Now, the first chord progression we'll be learning is the 1, 6, 4, 5. Roman numerals, it's I, V, I, V, and V. So you'll be playing the first, 6th, 4th, and 5th chord, and that will loop throughout the entire song. The first chord, it's going to be, which we just practiced. The 6th chord, it's going to be 4, 5, 6, so that's the 6th chord. And then the 4th chord was 4th chord. and then the fifth chord, and back to 1. See, it goes from, it seems to keep looping again and again. That's the 1, 6, 4, 5 chord progression. Apparently, that is the chord progression that is prevalent for Rasali, which is the song we were practicing. So you can play this on the left hand and sing, or play the melody on the right. Right? Another chord progression that is common for pop song is the 1, 4, 5. So it skips the 6th and goes to 4 and 5. So 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5, 1. So it does that as well. So these chord progressions work for most songs, but not all. But when you figure out the chord progression for your own song, what do? You're experimenting and you figure out the chord progression for your song. Write down the number of the chord. So if it's the first chord in the scale, then it goes to second, and then it goes to fourth, and then it goes to fifth, and then it goes back to 1. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 1. So write that down in a piece of paper, so that let's say tomorrow you're gonna do another shoot of the cover, or you're gonna look back at it after a few days, you got busy. The numbers are gonna help you return to that song. You don't have to figure out the chord progression again. So that's just a helpful tip that I would like to give you. Now there's gonna be a certain point when you're gonna Google the chord progressions in the chords, and it says A major, F minor, E minor, and all these loose terms being thrown out, and you're like, I don't have the music theory or bandwidth to be able to understand this. What do? I need a shortcut. Here's what I'm gonna tell you. You need to be able to identify the name and the type of any chord, and that's gonna transform your musical journey, especially if you like to make covers. You make more efficient covers. Here's what I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna break it down in a very simple mathematical pattern-like way. Every major chord, minor chord, these are the two types of chords that are very common for any song, to be honest. They are gonna follow this pattern. Let's pick the E major scale. For a major chord, it goes 4 steps up and 3 steps up. You're gonna play those two notes. So 4 steps up from the root note is this one, and 3 steps up further from that is this one. So that's a major chord. Let's pick this one. What's the major chord? 4 steps up to this one, and then 3 steps up this one. This works for anything. You can even pick this one. This note's not in the scale. Let's figure out the major chord. 4 steps up, this one, and then 3 steps up. Playing these 3 notes, that's a major chord. It's the 4-step, 3-step pattern. A minor chord, likewise, flips the order. So it's 3-step and 4-step. Let me pick this black key right here. This is in the scale of the E major. So I'm going to pick this one, right? I'm going to play the minor chord. So minor chord, 3 steps up, this one, and then 4 steps up. So I'm going to play this, this, and this, right? So minor chord follows a 3-4 pattern. Let's pick this note that's not in that scale. What's the minor chord? 3-step, 4-step. So this, this, this. So major chords follow a 4-3 pattern from the root note. Minor chord follows a 3-4 pattern from the root note of the chord, not the root note of the scale. Root note of the scale is this. You can pick any note and you can figure out the major chord for that note. Now, you might be wondering, what do you call these notes, right? So being able to know that this is a major chord is great. But what major chord is it? We know the type of the chord. What's the name of the chord? Now, the general pattern which I'll teach you for the keyboard is this. This note right here, it's called C. It follows an alphabetical order that goes from C to G, and then it returns to A, B, and it goes back to C. So all of these are C's, the letter C's, just in different pitches, different octaves, they call it, but we'll not worry about octaves in this video. So C, the next note, next white color note is D, next white color note is E, next white color note is F, next white color note is G. There is no H or I or J, so it returns back to A, B, and then C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and it keeps going throughout the entire keyboard. Okay, now let's put two concepts into practice: the name and the type of the chord. The type of the chord, let's pick this one in the E major scale that we were just learning in this video. The type of the chord will be determined by the steps. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So that must be a major chord. Now what name of the chord? You're going to look at the root note and you're going to say, what note is this? This was C, this was D, this is E. So how do you call this chord? E major. To give you another example, let's play this chord in the scale. This is apparently the 4th chord in the scale. What do you call this chord? This is C, D, E, F, G, A. This is the name of the chord. A. But is it a major or a minor? Let's count the steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. This is what I played. 4, 3 is a major. So it's an A major chord. Now that we know what the white keys represent, what do you call the black keys? So you know that this is C. Now there's a technical term called sharp or flat. A sharp is represented with a pound sign or a hashtag sign next to the note. This is C, which we learned. If you see a C with a hashtag or a pound sign, it means play the note one step up from that, which is that. That is a C sharp. For this note, for example, this is a D, right? This is a D sharp. For this one, this is an F. This is an F sharp. Okay, pretty simple, right? Now, let's look at flats. Flats is going to be represented by a kind of like a D. It's kind of like a D flat, which means you take the note and you move in the opposite direction, one step down. So if it's a D flat, it's one step down. That's a D flat. So you might be asking, we called it a C sharp here, and you're also calling it a D flat. What's the right way to call it? Now, it depends on the scale of the song. I'm not going to go too deep into what is the right way to call it. I would save that for another music theory video, but there is a right way to call it, which I'll not talk about in this video here. But for the purposes of the video, I want you to be able to name the name and the type of the chord. So let's play a chord from the E major scale as an example. This chord. This is the 2nd chord. The root note is this. So now you can call it an F sharp or a G flat. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to call it an F sharp. Okay, it is not a very big deal. Let's call it F sharp. But what type of chord is it? So it's playing this, this, and this. So this is going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a 3-4 pattern. It's a minor. So it's an F sharp minor chord. So now you've learned how to identify the name of the chord and whether it's a major minor chord. Now that you're able to call a chord, and now if you see a video or a script online that says C major, E minor, you're going to be able to play the chord. Let's pick E minor, for example. That's not in this scale that we just practiced, because this is in major scale. We're playing E minor. So E minor, it's going to go start from E, and you go 3 semitones up, or 3 steps up, and 4 steps up. That's E minor. So that's how you'll be able to figure out the chords of a song if you're gonna Google it. Okay, so let's recap everything we covered in the video. The first step when you listen to a new song is to figure out the root note of that song. In this case, it was this. It could be any of these notes, but there is one root note. From there, you determine what the scale of the song is. It's usually a major scale or a minor scale. The third step is to figure out the chords of the song. So you start with the first, third, and the fifth note of the scale. First, third, and fifth. Same thing works for a minor. First, third, fifth for the E minor scale. Okay? And to figure out the remaining chords of the scale, you just have to move each finger to the next note in that scale, and you figure out the rest of the chords. The next step is to practice the finger positions with your left hand until you're comfortable transitioning between the chords. The next step is to figure out what the name and the type of the chords are. The name of the chords, you can use the white notes as the reference keys, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and a sharp is 1 step up, a flat is 1 step down. That will help you determine the name of the chords. The type of the chords follows this. A major chord has, from the root note, 4 steps up and then 3 steps up. A minor chord has 3 steps up and then 4 steps up, and you have to play the notes together. So that's the quick recap. And lastly, for chord progressions, there's usually 1, 6, 4, 5 or 1, 4, 5, where you play the first, 6th, 4th, 5th, or you play the 1st, 4th, and 5th chord. These are common chord progressions, but again, they're going to differ based on your song. You might sometimes end up Googling the chord progressions if it's not that intuitive, but again, it's part of the musical journey to be able to figure out the chord progressions on your own. But I hope this video was useful for you, and I'm happy to make more videos for you if you'd like. Subscribe, like the video, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.